Hello, my name is John Veal. I'm the author of Supernaturally Prophetic and Supernaturally Delivered. I've just come to share some stories, supernatural stories of things that have occurred in my life that were very, very life-changing. The first one I like to talk about is my experience with a Ouija board. Now, for those that don't know what a Ouija board is, it's a seemingly harmless game, which is not harmless, where you contact dearly departed loved ones or just dead people. So I was living with my grandmother at the time, and my mom, Beverly, and my aunt, Helen, were also living there as well. So what happened was they purchased a Ouija board, and they started to play this Ouija board. So the night that they were playing, I was there. In fact, the planchette, the triangular shaped object that's used on a Ouija board, which, let me describe the Ouija board for you. It's got letters on it, symbols. You have yes, you have no. So what happens is that when people participate in this thing, they basically are asking the spirit to speak to them. And what they do, they place their hands on the planchette, and this spirit moves it to different letters. Like you may ask it, how long will I live? And it'll move to certain numbers, or it'll say yes or no to yes or no questions, almost like a magic 8-ball. So what happens is that they were doing it this particular night, and my mom seemed to receive the most attention. So what happened was my mom was asking it questions. And in fact, even before she really knew the true motives of what was behind the board, it was very benign, very, very innocuous. I mean, just very, very nice, very friendly. But then it started to evolve where it started to curse through the board and say all these vulgar things, which I can't repeat. But my mom asked it, she said, how long will I live? And the answer came to her. It was something that terrified her, caused her dread for years. The board, the thing through the board, basically told her that she would be dead in 10 years. Now, at the time, my mom was 26 years old. So she was very concerned over if we jump to the next 10 years, throughout those years, as it got closer to her 36th birthday, she would talk about death like no other. She would just say, well, when I'm gone, just take care of your brother. When this happens, you know the brevity of life. Life is so short. And as she's saying this, as we come closer to that birthday, I'm praying to God. I said, Lord, please don't let my mom die. Please don't let her die. And thankfully, she did not die. She lived another 27 years, and which I'm so thankful for. And when she did, unfortunately, pass away, she passed away not at her 36th birthday, but at her 63rd birthday. And that was pretty weird to me. It still kind of bothers me. Now, I know that my mother was saved. I was there when she passed away. I spoke to God about it, and God gave me confirmation that she's with him. So I'm thankful for that. But it just shows the dangers of utilizing this board, this witch board, as you may say. You don't want to mess with it. The last story I want to talk to you about is probably one of the most supernatural things that's ever happened to me personally. I was 19 years old. I made the decision to get saved. I was going to North Carolina Central in Durham, North Carolina. And I was just in that place of being young, wanting to do my own thing, wanting to have fun, but I had this call upon my life. I knew God was wooing me. God was drawing me. And so I was very confused. It was a very confused time. And so I had done some things to the point where I had backslidden. So I come home for college on break. I had on shorts, gym shoes, and a t-shirt. And I'm telling you this for a reason. I was with a friend of mine, and he had a BB gun. And the BB gun was very heavy. It's a hard black metal. And he said on several occasions he had been picked up by the police because they thought it was a real gun. And so as we were walking on this warm summer night, we found ourselves in the alley, and we were talking about it. And somehow I got the gun in my hands. I don't know if he just said, here you go, or if I asked him for the gun, but somehow I had it. So we saw this dog at the end of the alley. Being young and kind of dumb, we decided we're going to shoot at this dog. I know that's wrong. I would never do anything like that now, but that's what we decided to do. The dog just instinctively just took off across a busy street and ran into another alley. So we began to chase him. I think I'm slightly behind my friend, and I'm running, and I have the gun in my hand. So I'm running with this gun, just like this, just running with the gun in my hand. All of a sudden, I hear a voice. Now, this is not like a voice like the Holy Spirit speaking your spirit, and your spirit translates. This is like an actual voice that you hear, someone talking to you just in person. So this voice seemed to be like right at my ear. And it said, take the gun, put it in your shorts and put your shirt over it. And I believe I said, what? I was like, what? You know, because I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And then I heard the voice again. It said, take the gun, put it in your shorts, and put your shirt over it. And it had more urgency, like I needed to do this. And as I was running, I mean, as long as it took me to tell you that was not how long it took for it to be said. It was like a split second. This is all while I'm running across a busy street. And so I take the gun, put in my shorts, and put my shirt over it, not knowing why I'm doing this. The dog runs into another alley. I'm on one side, my buddy's on the other side, and we're looking, trying to see where this dog is so we can shoot at it, right? So wrong. But the thing about it is that what happens next is that two motorcycles pull up behind us. And I think they either said freeze or turn around. And once they said that, I turned around, and as soon as we both turned around, as soon as we turned around, the people on the motorcycle, they pulled their guns out. They drew their guns and had them pointed right at us. As soon as I saw the guns drawn, I put my hands up, and my friend did too. And I said, you know, what's going on? What's going on? They identified themselves as undercover detectives, and they saw us running across this busy street. They had gotten a report of a robbery in the area, and when they saw us running, they thought we had committed the robbery. So I said, no, I'm just home on break from school. I'm in college, you know, we saw a dog, we're just trying to chase the dog and just having some fun. One of them says, well, be more careful next time. And they pull off into the night. As we're walking away, I don't even think I told my friend that I heard a voice because I didn't want him to think I was crazy. And so we just walked on, and then later on, it didn't dawn on me at that time because really I didn't know who was talking to me. I didn't know it was God. I didn't know who it was that was talking to me, but all I know, it saved my life. And so later on, I was reading in the Bible, it talked about angels being ministers to them that shall become the heirs of salvation. And so God knew that I would preach his word. God knew that I would write books. God knew that I would do a work for him, and he preserved my life. And I'm so thankful. Now, what was so amazing about it is God, or the angel of the Lord, didn't come to me saying, I'm Gabriel, this is what you need. You know, he didn't come with a lot of formality. He just told me what I need to hear to save my life. And if I hadn't listened, if he hadn't repeated it, I would not be here today. That's what helped me to realize that God had a call on my life. And it could be the same for you. God will cause you. You may not have just heard God's voice audibly, but God has probably saved your life many times and you didn't even know about it. But I was just so amazed at how much God cared about me. Even in my backslidden state, God knew my future. He knew my purpose. And he knows your purpose and your future. And that's why it's so important to listen to the voice of God. Listen to what he says. Listen to when he warns you. Because there's some places before I go, the Lord will speak to my spirit and my spirit will speak to me and tell me not to go. No, don't go here. Because there were times that I didn't listen. I was very hard-headed. I went and did something God didn't tell me to do, and I wound up in trouble. That's why I'm learning as I get older to really listen to the voice of God, really listen to what he says and what he's telling me. In order to know God's voice, you've got to listen to it consistently. Because if you have a friend and you've talked to the friend all the time, like you've been friends for years, when they call you, you don't have to say, who is this? You know, who's calling? You know who's calling because you're accustomed to their voice. It's the same with God. As long as you get accustomed to his voice, you start to know and hear his voice and know it's him talking to you, and he can keep you out of a lot of trouble. But I've experienced so many supernatural things in my life. What is your gifting? What did God call you to do? Once you find out your purpose, you start to walk in it and operate in it. At that time, I didn't know what my purpose was. I didn't want to be a prophet. I didn't want to be a pastor. I had no inclination to do any of those things, but I had a strong calling of God on my life. And a lot of times you'll go through supernatural experiences throughout your life because God has his hand upon your life. So if you're going through a supernatural experience, even if some of y'all can relate to what I've gone through, to what has happened to me, you want to consider the call of God upon your life. You want to really consider that God is calling you, and it is your season. It is your time to answer the call of God upon your life because he wants to use you in a miraculous way. So I encourage you today. I pray for you. I decree over your life that you will find your purpose. If you haven't found it already, you will start to walk in godly authority, walk in godly purpose. And I just speak and declare that he will speak to you on a higher level. And if you're ever in situations where you're going through, that God will speak to you directly and just tell you and warn you to keep you from any adversity in terms of tragedy or accidents. I just speak that in the matchless and mighty name of Jesus. I really pray that my testimonies have blessed you, that you've gotten something out of it. Thank you for this time to share. God bless you, and hope to see you later.